Okay, welcome everyone to our Melbourne Electric EV Group meeting for February. Thank you for coming along on those and that tonight. And tonight it's exciting because we've got our next EV Expo coming up. We've done 2 EV Expos so far on those, and this will be the 3rd. No, so the planning's well underway, and we're going to have a bigger and better EV Expo than we had last year. We've got a lot more plans for it, and everything's all set up and starting to get going. So thank you for coming along on that tonight. And I thought tonight that we would play a couple of film clips that I got off the internet on those. As we're coming up to the expo, this one, the first film clip that I'm going to show is in America of a conference called EVCon, which is like EV conversions. And this particular group, they do conversions of cars. So it's more for the home tinkerer and who does conversions. So I'll just show this first video and start there.
As a power source, electricity has many positives going for it.
And electric makes sense because you don't have to build out an infrastructure like you would for hydrogen or natural gas. Electricity is everywhere. The combination of the ubiquity of electricity and the game being changed with the lithium-ion batteries, we really feel that electric vehicles have really got a chance this time.
Lithium batteries are pretty much the news and the enabler for these cars. There have been electric cars for 100 years, and there's been individuals converting cars for the last 50 years. The sea change, or what we call a threshold of viability, is the availability of the lithium iron phosphate cells, where we can build a car with an 80 to 100 mile range or more. And that suddenly, instead of building a science project or demonstrating a car, you can actually go into your garage, build a car, and use it as a car. And that's really kind of news the last 3 years.
The type of cars that we're talking about, the lithium ion powered battery electric vehicles, which is really the game changer in terms of making these real cars, perform like cars, is, there are maybe a few thousand in the world of these vehicles. So this is a process that's still going to take years. We're in the tinkerer stage. We haven't even approached early adopters, really.
The early adopter stage is typically classified as 2.5% of a market, and that would be 375,000 electric cars a year. There's probably 15,000 electric cars in the world using lithium batteries.
If you'll follow me with a camera, we'll walk around the car and I'll kind of show you the build and open her up so you can look inside. George Hamstra from NetGain talked this into a Warp 11-inch. We switched controllers to the Avnetics Soliton 1. We used the same 180 ampere hour China Aviation lithium batteries. We have 52 of them in this car. We have 36 cells in the back and 4 cases, and 16 in the front. The biggest challenge is about 50% of the build, Jack would say, is locating space for the battery boxes, building the battery boxes, and installing the boxes. This car has a little more range than the Spider. The Spider was maybe a 110 to 120 mile range. We feel this one is probably 130, maybe a little more. I've driven it 110 miles a couple of times, and the percentage left in the pack has led me to believe it'll go at least 130 miles. We've geared it, and we think the car will probably do in excess of 120 miles an hour.
Dwayne Ball has a NetGain motor and Avnetics controller. The presidents of both these companies were invited as speakers. George Hamstra, the keynote speaker, did so well in the computer industry, he retired at age 37 and built an electric dragster just for fun.
We initially started with an off-the-shelf motor, and we kept destroying the motors. What we decided was we needed a motor built for our needs. So we worked hand in hand with Warfield to develop a motor, and we've been continuing to enhance that motor for the last 10 years. It's becoming popular with EV enthusiasts. And I've been contacted by Chinese manufacturers, and they've tried to clone my motors, and You know, they've offered me prices that are 1/2 of what I can have those motors produced for here in the United States.
This is 200 horsepower motor controller and a 400 horsepower motor controller that we make.
Sebastian Bourgeois is another conference presenter that got into making electric car components because he saw a need based upon his own experience.
We got a team together and designed essentially products made specifically for electric vehicles. It's not only a motor controller, but also kind of the heart and soul of an electric vehicle. Essentially the link between the battery pack and the motor.
Sebastian Bourgeois' current conversion, a Porsche 911, is approved.
This is a twin 9 motor setup. This is good to run 400 horsepower, 600 foot-pounds from stall. This is probably, I would say, 3 times more torque than this car had originally, and you know, easily 2 to 2.5 times more horsepower. So this goes like steam.
Cars on display at the convention were not as sexy as the show cars built by the high-end converters. Jason Porrick is a more typical home converter, choosing a 1987 Dodge Daytona for his conversion. He started by setting a price point that was within his means.
Initially, I set my sights at about $15,000 for the whole build. It seemed that was kind of a reasonable price range for a car that had the kind of performance that I was looking for. I mean, you can build an electric car on a budget for, you know, a lot less money, but I wanted one that could go, you know, 75 to 80 miles an hour on the highway. I wanted it to accelerate as quickly as the original car, and, you know, basically be a fun to drive vehicle that I could do all my daily driving in.
Daily driving is what cars are mostly used for. On average, people drive less than 50 miles per day.
The projected range is between 100 and 120 miles. That puts it into the realm of practical for most people. And so to be able to get back and forth to work every day, you know, without paying any money for gas, that's kind of cool. Electricity is very inexpensive to charge your car. It's pennies on the dollar.
Electric cars with their limited range make perfect sense as commuter vehicles. You may have noticed that Jason Porrick used the term projected range.
I had an issue when I originally came in, my car didn't run, and I shipped it here. So when I got here, there was the owner and operator of Magnetics was under my car fixing it and making it go, and it was just an amazing experience.
While tweaking the controller is something many first-time builders seem to struggle with, most of the build, such as wiring the batteries, is basic electrical knowledge.
These are the batteries, and this is how they're all hooked together. It's really kind of straightforward, but each battery has about 3.4 volts individually. And so in order to get up to a high enough voltage to run a car, you have to hook them together in series.
Can anybody build one? Probably not, but somebody with average or better than average mechanical skills can certainly be very successful at this.
Many people attending the electric car conversion conference are just starting the process.
How many of you are building an electric car that have never driven one yet?
Others had finished their cars in time for the conference and wanted to share what they had learned. And the event opened to the public. You could see they also wanted to know more.
First question everybody asks is, how far will it go? On paper, mine should go 80, 75 miles, I think. I finished it 2 weeks ago, and I don't even have that many miles on it yet, so I'm not sure. The other question people ask is, what does it cost? I spend more than I care for my wife to know that she won't be watching this, so I'll share. It's $25,000.
I wouldn't be surprised if we had 65 grand building this car.
Even at the lower price range, electric cars at this time are not likely to provide a return on investment that makes them cost competitive with fuel-efficient conventional cars. But that's not what is motivating many of these tinkerers.
When I looked at the unprecedented wealth transfer from the United States to offshore powers that frankly are not friendly, and in many cases are quite interested in our demise, I figured that by making a small contribution to the reduction in the use of fossil fuels, I would be just reducing some of the money going offshore and keeping it here in the United States where it belongs.
Oil is at the center of the struggle of controlling resources. So I'd like to be able to enable an easy way out of that, for one. You have the obvious pollution issue, and they're fun. They're absolutely amazing. Just yesterday, I rode this BMW, and the experience is truly exhilarating. So they don't have to be these little putster, little cars that barely move. They're actually incredibly fun and fast.
Right now, there is a market for electric cars, and the products needed to make them that's wide open.
So there's a lot of opportunities, and a lot of the attendees here at the show have already developed products, motors, controllers, chargers, pedals, instrumentation, things that you need in any vehicle, but some of those have got to be specific to electric vehicles. And we're really seeing a push for people to have a business, not only in products, but also in converting cars.
What I want to do is make electric conversions such as these as a profession.
This is why Wayne Alexander, who's done close to 150 conversions since 2005, was invited to present. Like car painting entrepreneur Earl Scheib, who used to advertise he would paint any car for $29.95, Alexander will convert any car starting at $12,500.
But the 12.5 is the lowest in the country. And I like Earl Scheib. I'll convert any car, any color, any size, starting at 12.5.
I think Wayne Alexander has a lot to share. He has a very simple process of doing this.
We haven't even scratched the surface of electric vehicles in this country. Even if it came to the point of 1% of the vehicles on the road were converted to electric, it'd be a huge amount.
George Hamster is even more bullish than Alexander about electric cars.
This is the next opportunity, like personal computers. As a matter of fact, it appears to me, after seeing the turnout here in Cape Girardeau and what's going on, that this is going to exceed the growth curve of personal computers.
You may recall that PCs got less expensive and faster. Software was developed that met the needs of consumers and businesses, and companies that dominated the mainframe computer market fell by the wayside. So don't be surprised if electric vehicles become more and more viable, fueled by leaps in battery technology or other innovations. These are unlikely to come from major car companies. It's more likely that the next Steve Jobs or Bill Gates is among this crowd.
So that first clip that I was showing on was an EV convention that was run in America on those through Jack Ricard and this group called EVTV. But, you know, it sort of brings up a few of the issues and things there. Like there are suppliers there who have started in the industry and now starting to make the components on those for EVs, on things like they had Netgain Motors, on those have been very well known, who's built the DC motors, and then Solitron, who make the motor controllers and that go in them, and other groups in that as well. So I think the conversion side of it also is very important, and that for our conference. You know, we want to get the people to come along who've done conversions, make sure that we get some of them to come along on those, and also probably some of the people that are involved in the industry on those. We've got a little bit of it going here in Melbourne on those, and people doing conversions, cars, bikes, other things as well on those, converting them to electric. So I just thought I'd like to bring that up and show that just what some things that have been done with the area of conversions. And then the next one I was going to show is from Sweden. I was actually, sorry, this is from Switzerland on those, and this was an EV expo which was focused more on new vehicles. You know, some of the new vehicles that are coming out through Europe on those, some of them we see here, a lot of them we don't. On those, we're just seeing some of the new vehicles there and going through them. And there was a few home builds in that as well on this one too. I'll just play this.
On the 9th and 10th of May, we had a test day in Eddingen at St. Canton Zurich in Switzerland. We were able to drive almost any commercial electrical car that is available right now. We registered at this booth of T-Mobile, and there were quite a few visitors. You could drive about 6 Tesla Model S, 4 Tesla Roadsters, 3 BMW i3, 2 Renault Zoe, 1 Nissan Leaf, 1 special surprise, Smart, Mitsubishi i-Move, and 1 Renault. As you can see here, the presence of Tesla Model S and Roadsters is quite overwhelming. There were also some vans. Citroën and Renault had a commercial van, and some micro cars like Renault This is some bikes, motocross bikes, e-scooters, also hybrids were present. Two Volvo V60 plug-in hybrids and one Toyota Prius and one Volvo Ampere. Of course, I had to drive them all, especially the Tesla was very nice. I think it's more, you experience the acceleration more when you're a passenger than you might when you're a driver, because you don't know when to expect the car to jump forward, and you're just pressed against the back of your seat with the headrest. The BMW i3s are actually quite a nice car. They have the best acceleration aside from the Tesla. They're quite sporty, and to me they look appealing. It's a different look. You're not used to it. BMW. This note there in the middle is typical BMW, but it also has a touchpad where you can enter the navigation. The note there at steering wheel, there you select the gear. It's quite funky, but I think it is good. Of course, there is the link. And by the way, apologies for some pictures which are really sharp. Reynolds Zoe. It doesn't have as much punch as a Nissan Leaf, but I think for a normal city driver, it's absolutely perfect. Mitsubishi Leaf. And the surprise, VW it was there. It was not just a press release. And new price. Smart. And then there was the full electric Citroën Berlingo. You get it from about 13,000 Swiss francs. That's about $14,000. Of course, then you have to rent the battery. That's not true, but the price is fair. Cargo space. And also Renault Kangoo has a 100% electric drive condition of the car. It was only self-made pickup. Which sells bikes. I like the logo up there. It looks like it was converted. It's converted to air. Some charge stations were also there. Like this one, some lines. And there's also a mobile edition, mobile fast charger. That's some hybrids that we use. V60. Actually, I think this car is very nice looking, but once I drove it, I realized that you could switch between the 3 different modes, and the full electric mode, if you step a little bit too much on the pedal, then the gas engine still kicks in. These are the pumpy we see actually quite nice acceleration. It's kind of a electric motorbike on 4 wheels. It's a two-seater. And there are also some special edition electric motorbikes, like this futuristic looking piece. And there are also some motocross bikes. Starting from 5,000 Swiss francs, about 20,000 euros. I drove this one, this scooter here, and actually you have to hold on to it. When you turn the accelerator, you're for surprise. It's not a scooter, vintage looking scooter, and also some e-bikes. So that's it from this state for electromobility, and move on with another topic.
So that was an expo that was in Switzerland mainly on new vehicles. So we could see that there's a lot of new vehicles around on those, and I mean we've already got two of the major companies in that bringing their cars along on those that we've already lined up, and we're going to get quite a few more. So certainly looking at that. So maybe I was thinking first of all, do you want to talk first, Rebecca? Yeah, you might come along and maybe have a chat about the expo then. And then after you finish, we might ask if there's any news from the members. So,
yeah.
Okay, you go ahead.
Sorry everyone, I haven't done my hair. Yeah, so thanks for everyone coming, and you guys are obviously interested in the expo. Expos generally, which are awesome, and I got the feeling from those two videos that they had a massive array of cars available, which here in Australia are still a little bit limited on that front in terms of you know, all of the car manufacturers being here and having availability and that sort of thing. I guess just to start, a bit of an intro. Our expo for this year is going to be on April the 19th. It's a Sunday, which it was last year too. So it will be held downstairs in this building in the atrium again. Is there anyone who hasn't been to one of our expos that's here? Everyone's been to one? Excellent. All right, so I guess you know how it goes then. We've got sort of 4 sections. So there's stalls and display areas, so static displays, some of which are corporate stalls, others are personal display vehicles. We've got a test drive component to the expo, which is, I would argue, of the greatest appeal to a large proportion of the attendees. We've got presentations as well, so we have technical presentations. I think probably we might have something a bit more hands-on this time as well for people to come and watch. So it may well be in a room similar to this, but probably closer to the ground floor. And then we also have the show and shine. So it's a competition where all the vehicles that choose to enter before the day are judged on various criteria and compared against their equivalent, I guess, friends or foes that have built similar vehicles. So yeah, we're excited to run this event, and we really think that it brings a mesh between the EV group, which tends to be the already converted, if you like, and crossing that over towards the mainstream. So we're actually educating people and inspiring them towards electric vehicles, which for me is why I'm part of this movement. So yeah, I think we've grown the expo. It was probably twice as large last year as it was the year before, so in terms of attendance. So we're hoping to do that again this year. And I guess the core, for those of you who aren't in the core organising committee here, I've been put in charge of coordinating the team, organising the event, as I've done the past couple of years. David is in charge of, do you want to say a bit, David, on what you're doing there?
Just, judging the various vehicles and show and shine. Nicole's going to give me a bit of a hand with that, and we'll perhaps see if we can rope someone, a figurehead in or something to help us do that too. But we're looking forward to doing that. And,
so David judged last year, and he's going to simplify the process a little bit this year, hopefully. And so that's a great job you're doing. And Paul?
I'll be doing the stall holders on those like I did last year. So, and then we can get everyone to come along and sit in there at the show, take a stall on those. It could be e-bike people, it could be charging stations, it could be non-government organisations, that might have an interest in electric vehicles. We're looking for quite a wide range to see who would come along. We'll ask the AEBA if they want to come along and have a stall as well as a profit. And so we'll get just quite a few groups coming to the stall.
Great, excellent. So Negley's working with David there on the judging, and Felix?
Oh, we're going to have, like we had the last couple of years, we had a number of speakers with practical experience in VE and similar technologies. This year we're going to introduce more scientific component. Hopefully we can get some of the other students at Swindon and maybe other university where they're going to show us a bit of the new technologies coming out, what they're studying, what they're doing. Not quite sure what the subject just yet. But on our committee, apart from me, is one of the lecturers, Clint Steele, and he's looking at that part of it. And in the past, we've had some real interest in that. There's a lot of people, a lot of the speakers have been fairly practical. We've had Dean, our ex-chair, who looked over the bike, had a presentation on the theory, but also the practical side. And I noticed a lot of people my age group were quite interested in that. There also another very good speaker that we hope to get, and he's worked at Toyota, and he was there at the last expo, and he was very well received. And we hope after all this that after all the speakers, that I give out our 4 speakers, I presume, that we're going to have a bit of a forum, all the speakers up in front, asking questions, discussing points of interest. That'll be one of the other features of our expo.
Great. Thanks, Felix. And for those guys who haven't yet contributed any ideas, does anyone have any feedback or ideas for the presentations at all? Sort of throw that out there. Maybe you don't right now, but if you do, maybe go and have a chat to Felix after, because we're sort of just in the planning stages at the moment, or looking to sort of finalise what exactly we're doing. And whilst we want to go with what's been popular in the past, I think there's also a call for some new and fresh and exciting, the research students, for example, and that sort of thing. So, yeah, nothing springs to mind. That's cool. And Mario, our promo king.
I've been talking to the major car manufacturers to try and secure some sponsorship and participation in test drives. So far, BMW has said that the i3 and possibly the i8. Also, they can get the i8. It's in the country. They can get it here. As well. The SIM and the SMO. Two main things if you want.
Yeah, so this is our core team of hard working. Yeah, in the background. I guess just to throw it out there as well, we are still looking for a couple more hands on deck if anyone's interested in getting involved, as well as the probably up to as many as 30 would be great volunteers for on the day. So from various tasks to sitting on the registration table through to signing people up for the test rides or, you know, organising the test drive area and those sorts of things. We actually need a volunteer coordinator, so someone who may have good connections to help us find those volunteers, but also coordinate them on the day. So it might be breaking up those sort of into 2-hour shifts or those sorts of things. We have the sorts of structures that we've used in previous years available, but that is, I guess, a role that isn't currently being filled at the moment. We're also very keen to reach out our tendrils as far as we can to everyone who we possibly can think of who has an electric vehicle of any sort, be it a flying one, a watercraft, anything. We're really keen to have a diverse range of electric vehicles, especially, you know, we'd love to see some vintage electric cars, at least one would be awesome, and this and that. So yeah, we're, I guess, looking for someone. Doug at the ATA is quite well connected on that level, so he's doing some work on getting various cars and a few race cars and that sort of thing here for us, but we're always open to suggestions or our membership base helping us find more vehicles to display. I mean, anyone who has one generally jumps at the chance to display it somewhere in front of an interested audience, so it's generally not too hard. It's just making sure that those people are aware of the event, I guess, as well. So yeah, there's a couple of sort of roles there. The test ride area for the bikes was a bit of a big job last year as well, so it could possibly be something that someone might organise. We put up some temporary fencing and we had wristbands so that people had to register to ride those bikes so that they were secure whilst being ridden, and we had people's details and everything like that. So yeah, there could be a position there to actually manage the volunteers that are running that all day as well. So yeah, that's sort of what we need. Where we're at the moment, we've got assistance from council. They're doing quite a lot of printing for us, so we'll be looking to put posters up everywhere in the couple of weeks before the event, especially locally, but not just locally. So anyone we know can poster up their local suburb. We've got a couple of banners that council are providing. We're advertising in Renew magazine. We'll probably be looking to do some community radio ads, I would say, and we'll be putting press releases out, so we hopefully get some print media coverage in that way, as well as last year we ran some Facebook ads, which I think did quite well, so probably do that sort of thing as well. So yeah, there's a fair bit that I'm going to handle to Mario once he's done with the sponsors, as well as everyone can get involved in that marketing aspect as well. So yeah, I'm excited. April 19th, I hope everyone can come. And yeah, is there anything people want to discuss about the expo at all?
I might be able to, if it's a good idea and we can get a trailer, borrow an electric site vehicle from work. So I don't think it's going to be Taylor done. The site vehicles are about like that wide, sort of flat. They're like a little flat bed tube with two wheels and right up the front. Used around the side of work. I've only just managed to get hold of it recently from one of our other sites that was closing down. We could drive around there. It's not a road vehicle.
No, doesn't matter.
Whether it's
great.
Considered interesting enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Get hold of it as long as there's a trailer available to bring it.
To bring it from where? About?
Hyde.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's something to look at, definitely. I've thought about mobility scooters too. Like, I mean, it's a bit of an obscure, off to the side I guess, market, but like they're electric vehicles, and we should alert people to the fact that there are actually already a lot of electric vehicles in use. So that would be another great display. Though, is it sort of like an easy go kind of thing, or a bit different to that?
The key switch for forward or reverse.
Yeah.
Pedal and brake.
Oh yeah, okay.
And stuff around the yeah, it's got quite a heavy, quite.
Got like a flat bed or something,
Yeah.
you just put stuff on?
Yeah,
Drive
it's
around.
got, it's got 6 volt, 450 amp hour lead acid batteries.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for the offer. That'd be cool.
That'd be good, isn't it? Because those sort of vehicles and those are quite often used in mining. You know, there's another market that we don't see a lot of that. You know, electric
It's not
vehicles.
a show piece, it's a
Yeah, it's a work vehicle, isn't it? It goes around the site.
Great.
That's good. Thanks, Rebecca.
All right.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Thank you.
Those. I was also going to ask if there's anything from the group, anyone else wanted to come and talk about something. And I know Kevin is working on a project as well on those, and he might describe a little bit about what he's doing. So, go ahead, Kevin.
My name is Kevin Woodhouse. I've been involved in electric vehicles for over 40 years. I go back to the days where the Sydney County Council and the SEC in Victoria actually imported vehicles into Australia on a trial basis. I've also been an owner of different electric vehicles over the years. First one was a mini miner. We threw out the back seat, put in a whole lot of lead acid batteries, and it only went 40 Ks, but it was a beginning. And that was way back in the 80s. Today, I'm actually embarking on a new program, and that program is a zero emission vehicle program, which I hope to get up and running in the next month on the peninsula, and maybe even Phillip Island. To explain how it would work, number one, I'd be pushing for level 1 charging to be flooding the peninsula. Think of a caravan park. At the moment, if you own an electric vehicle, you pull in after work, and if you're a permanent resident at that caravan park, you've got free fuel for the time you're at that caravan park. So that's basically where it would all start. But because caravan parks already have that facility, I'm now looking at motels and a whole lot of other venues. I've got a hit list of about 100 on the peninsula. Different type of entities, businesses, and hopefully the council will see my way of thinking. The main driving thing in this is that I would like my grandchildren to be able to breathe the air that I can breathe today. And that's the whole driving force behind all of this. So if there's anybody on the peninsula who would be interested in joining the group, please contact me. If you've got your pen and paper handy, I'll give you a number. I'll talk for a little bit perhaps. No, everybody's right.
This is going over YouTube. So
yes. Okay, yes, you can replay it. The number is 59774982, and that's my home in Tyre. The people that would be joining this group would have to be residents of the peninsula or people that have a business on the peninsula, and that way I would qualify for a grant, hopefully. So there's a few ifs with this program, but I think if I talk to the council in the way I've talked to you now, I think they'll be on board. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin, for letting us know about that. And I was just thinking, like my electric vehicle, like my Vectrix, on those, of course, it uses level 1 charging on those. And if I want to go down to Gippsland or I want to go and visit people like that, I've got to make sure that I've got somewhere that I can go to on those so that I can charge it while I'm down there. But if this network is set up, like on the peninsula, maybe if we're working further down Phillip Islands, down in other areas then I know, well, I could find where I can go to and then I can go there and charge it as such. And a lot of the cars too, even though they're level 2 charge, will also work on level 1 charging on those if they have the lead for them as well, because that's used at home quite a bit. It's just level 1 charging. You know, it's slower. It's the normal 10 amp, 240 volts, but that will charge an electric vehicle overnight or top it up, even those if you're travelling around. So yeah, I can really see the idea of that. And I know in Western Australia they're talking about the electric vehicle highway on there, which is almost for like a tourism type area, but to try and get people to come down from Perth and use the electric vehicles down in Western Australia, going down to Margaret River and down into that area. And in that case, they're looking at getting level 2 chargers, and they're like set up in the towns, and that so there's a network for people to travel between. But this is a start, isn't it? If we get level 1 in there, then people know where they can go and they can charge their vehicle, and they're not going to get stranded on the side of the road, or they can know where they can charge. Okay, I think that's pretty well all on that I wanted to cover on tonight. Has anyone else got any news that they wanted to bring to the group? Has anyone been to anything recently, that any events or anything that they know that's coming up?
Expos coming.
Yeah, I think it's just our event, isn't it? It's really exciting. We're going to have our expos up and going. We're going to have a bigger and better expo than we did last year on those. We're well underway in preparation and that for that.
There is the Australian Motoring Festival coming up in March as well, which we did toy with the idea of affiliating with them and running our expo with them, although they just wanted us to buy some space at their expo. So it didn't pan out, but I believe that Red Bikes will be going and promoting our expo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Red Bikes and that will be taking, we believe they'll be taking a stand, yeah, and then at least we'll have a presence in that there as such.
Yeah.
That's true, isn't it? Because that's a big one in the showgrounds, and they've got a four-wheel drive track, haven't they? Where people can get on four-wheel drives and hoon around this track, and they're setting it up, and it's family friendly. They've got events there for the children that during the day, and it should be quite good. I think it's over 3-4 days.
Yeah, 4 days.
4 days. Yeah, it is amazing to run an event like that over 4 days.
And not have an electric section. What are they thinking?
Yeah, well, they're not
They
thinking
do have
about
electric
us.
bikes, so yeah, but not cars.
Well, maybe next year. On those, we've got a few more manufacturers on, and that will end up and going. Okay, that's all I wanted to cover tonight. Nice, we can network, have a bit of a chat on those, and thank you for coming.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.